Hello everyone and welcome to our video series on Learn German Grammar. In this video, you will be learning some cases in which the nouns don't use an article. So let's begin. Kein Artikel. Well, in German, in some cases or in some situations, you don't use an article with a noun. It's not that the noun does not have an article, but in the context, you don't need one. Let's look at the first case and the first example. Beim Plural von bestimmten Artikel. If you want to revise bestimmte Artikel, you can watch our video on the same. And here's an example. Ich liebe Tiere. In this case, Tiere is the plural for Tier, and in this case, you won't use the definite article die. Let's look at the second case. Bei Vor- und Nachnamen. For example, Guten Morgen, Frau Schmidt. In this case also, the article die is not required with the name. Let's look at another example. Was magst du heute, Tobias? Here also, since Tobias is a first name, you won't use an article. Coming to the next category. Bei Berufsbezeichnungen. And here's an example. Ich bin Architektin. When you're talking about your profession, you don't use an article, unlike in English. You can watch our video on Berufe if you want to revise the various professions in German. Let's see the next case. Bei Nationalitäten und Religionen. Let's look at an example. Sie ist Spanierin. Since Spanierin is a nationality, you wouldn't use an article here. The next case is bei abstracta. Abstract nouns are words that don't denote a specific object, for example, truth, anger, fear, etc. Let's look at an example. Hat Angst vor Katzen. Even though Angst has an article, you wouldn't use it here. The next category is bei nicht zählbaren Dingen. Let's look at an example. Hast du Geld? Even though the article for Geld is das, one doesn't use it here. Let's move on to the next category. Bei Materialien und Stoffen. And here's the first example. Diese Kette ist aus Gold. The article for Gold is das. But in this case, you wouldn't use the article. Now let's take an example for Stoff. Der Pullover ist aus Wolle. The article for Wolle is die, but in this case it's not required. Let's move on to the next one. Bei Städten und Ländern. And here is an example. Ich komme aus Deutschland. Since Deutschland has no article, you would simply say Ich komme aus Deutschland. But there are a few countries which have an article. For example, die Schweiz, die Türkei, etc. You can go through our video on Woher kommst du to see which countries have an article. Let's look at an example of a city. Sabina fährt nach München. The names of cities in German don't have an article. The next case is bei Krankheiten. And here's an example. Maria hat Fieber. Like all other nouns, even Fieber has an article, that is, das, but in this sentence, we don't use it. Let's see the next category. Bei Namen nach Mengenangaben. And here's an example. Ich hätte 2 Kilo Äpfel. In this case, the Mengenangabe is Kilo, and Kilo has the article das. But since we are talking about Mengenangabe, we don't use an article here. The next one says bei Überschriften. For example, Mehrheit der Deutschen gegen Atomkraft. Mostly in headlines and titles of articles, the nouns are used without der, die or das. Let's look at the last category where no articles are used. Bei Anzeigen. For example, eleganter Mann sucht junge Frau. Just like headlines, one doesn't use articles in advertisements. Great! Hope you enjoyed this lesson. Danke! Thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, do give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos. If you have any comments or questions, you can leave them in the comment section below. Tschüss, auf Wiedersehen!